Say what is up, traders? Welcome back to the live. We are trading here the overall equity market, and Tesla is actually an absolutely amazing trade for the day. It's been quite strong. Overall, it's been holding above VWAP, and we are in a position. We are long at the bounce of the VWAP here, so we're actually around $4 in the money. So it's quite a nice position here. We're looking to possibly take full profit target price towards this RSI. So there's pivot point, which is the next pivot point, which is, I believe, if we zoom out, looks like it's, yeah, nice pivot point right there. Yeah, overall the market has been pretty strong. We had economic data that came in, so let's take a little of a look at the overview of what the markets had for today. So here, looking at the Uplift Markets newsletter, which is completely free for you guys. Just subscribe and you guys get daily access and a pre-market, kind of like a watch list for you guys and up-to-date news. So this was the recent news for the overall market kind of overview. So Tesla stock faces the EV rivals while Cathie Wood doubles down on AI vision. So if we scroll down, we have the economic data that came in today, and that is PPI month over month actually came in line with the forecast, around 0.1%. Core PPI came in actually a little bit higher than the forecast. It was expected to be negative 0.1, but actually came in pretty high. Just quite the catch here. Let's see. Initial jobless claims came in lower than the forecast of 250,000, with the actual coming in at 248,000. Continuing jobless claims came in a little bit higher, but the market didn't really take that into consideration too much. Core PPI year over year actually down, so came pretty much, we saw CPI and now PPI coming in lower year over year change, right? You always want to look at the longer term trends, right? It's important as well. The market factors in, month over month changes, but the overall longer term trend is what's showing us that the overall inflation is cooling down, overall the increase in prices, so that's good for the consumer and for the overall economy at this point. And hopefully it's going to prompt the Fed to take some rate cuts, and there's a lot of expectation towards September here. So a little bit of a recap here. The overall U.S. stock ended the session mixed on Thursday. Today obviously started as traders weighed softer inflation data against renewed tariff threats from President Trump and rising geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. So that's something to take in mind here. Trade of the day is obviously Tesla, looking quite well in the daily chart. We have a chart here where you guys can do your analysis, your scans, and the technicals are pretty good, hovering near short-term support after a 2-day rally. So it's holding the support. We're above the swing high, above the 50. So it's quite nice to see. There's a news catalyst here. For example, Xpeng G7 SUV sees 10,000 pre-orders in under an hour. So that's kind of bad for Tesla, showing here the competition. A lot of demand, that 10,000 pre-orders in under an hour, challenging Tesla's Model 3 in China. As well, Cathie Wood has been calling Tesla the largest AI project on Earth and confirms that ARK Invest is buying. I don't really take it too like that, as well as the future snapshot, how the markets were doing or are doing. And overall the Dow, we have some negative news here. Quite tragic. The Dow slipping as Boeing falls, and that has to do after reports of a deadly plane crash in India. The incident has renewed scrutiny over Boeing's safety practices and added pressure on the industrial sector. So, very tragic news. Takes away from what the stock has been doing overall. Now seeing this decline, showing that overall investor sentiment is now maybe wondering, are these planes really safe? Are we really out of the overall plane crash that we were seeing, all these accidents, right? So it's kind of reviving the flame here. So hopefully there's an investigation done properly, and that make sure that Boeing does fix their planes and any structural issue that they may have. And if it's determined that the plane wasn't at fault, Boeing wasn't at fault, maybe was a pilot, who knows. But that's very tragic news, news that we obviously don't want to hear. here, and it's unfortunate that still happens. Some inflation data, like I said, that came in. Wholesale inflation also rose less than the expected, which is pretty much the PPI. Building on this week's earlier CPI data that showed softening price pressures. Exactly. The numbers suggest that the impact of Trump's April tariffs has so far been limited in terms of pushing up prices. That's what, investors were really concerned. That's why I think we're really doing well in the markets, because investors were really worried that the tariffs would add those increase in prices, have higher prices for the consumer. But looks like right now we're not seeing any impact. I still believe it's a little bit too early to say so. We may have to add a little bit more, maybe towards the next couple of months. Right now it's a little bit too early to say that, but investors so far are taking whatever positive news they can, and I think that's good so far. There's been some trade policy here. Markets have turned cautious again after President Trump has warned of unilateral take it or leave it tariffs on global trading partners. His comments cast doubt on the stability of the current trade truce, especially with the U.S.-China talks still fragile. However, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent offered a more optimistic tone, telling Congress it's highly likely that the U.S. will extend the current 90-day tariff pause beyond the July 9th expiration date for some countries still negotiating deals. So, I'd say this trade overall, it's been pretty bipolar from the current administration, but we'll have to see how this overall impacts the market. If the tariffs are extended, we're going to see another boom, right? But if there's no extension and they actually take into effect, then we will see the market react in a negative way, just like we saw in that sharp decline in April, pretty much. Additionally, some key takeaways here to take note here are that inflation overall remains soft, and we have to take into account that as inflation remains soft, there's a higher probability for the Fed to establish overall a Fed cut, basically cut the interest rates. Let's see. So we had some problems there with the camera. Pretty weird. And yeah, there's that tariff policy is back on the spotlight as Trump renews threats and geopolitical risk in the Middle East are possibly adding more heat to the market and Boeing woes weight on the sentiment. So things to keep in mind here. And also here we have a dedicated news article talking about the Boeing crash and pretty much what it's doing to the stock. So you guys can read a little bit more about that. I would read that, and also some meta news that's suing Crush AI. So taking note of that, there's more articles there for you guys to take a look at. But that would be overall what the market is taking into effect right now on the overall price action. So we're seeing Tesla kind of finding resistance again at that pivot point. Jesus Christ. It's not strong like Nvidia. Nvidia was quite strong on the day. Now it's starting to pull back, seeing some, now there it is, pulling back, but we may find support at this VWAP. Intraday VWAP here, the $143 level, but it's pulling back quite heavily. Yeah, maybe some type of market news, but look at market pulled back towards VWAP, found a little bit of support here. It's quite not bad. Yeah, overall, to give like a rundown of the overall equities here, the triple Q is up on the day, a little bit more than 1/10%. SPY a little bit higher than that, showing strong momentum here since the beginning of the day, since the open, and now just barely pulling back, and looks like it's finding intense buyers here at VWAP. Just look at that candle right there. If you guys see that candle developing, finding some intense buyers here. Meta on the day been pretty strong. It's above VWAP, above its 50 EMA, which is this, above the 50 EMA, above the intraday VWAP. Finding a little bit of sellers here, but other than that, it's been pretty strong here on the day. The long could have been here at the break and close of the intraday VWAP, which signify that the buyers now had overall control in the stock here. Looking at Google now, pretty weak on the day. It's below the 50, below the 200. Quite how do I say it? Quite consolidative, quite flaggish here. Like it's within a range. You know, found support here at this lower part of the range here, this lower range, but it's found some resistance here. I mean support. Now it's finding some resistance at the top area of the range, so it's not looking too strong for Google today. Microsoft, one of the strongest names here on the daily chart, and one of the strongest Max 7 in my opinion here. It's been pretty strong, absolutely amazing. Holding above the 50 EMA. Actually, you know, within the open, it broke above it, pulled back exactly towards VWAP, and this 50 EMA held it. We formed that nice hammer candle right here, and it was only towards the upside. So that was a nice entry there. Looks like we're pulling back a little bit here, maybe some profit taking, and maybe some news that came in. Overall, it's been kind of developing news right here with the trade deals. It's very important, you know, stay informed here. Apple, quite consolidative on the day, still below the 50 EMA, below 200. So I say this stock is pretty weak. As you guys can see, we had you know, opened quite strong towards the downside, still below the 50 EMA. We found some support here at around this level of the 197. We had a nice little rally towards the 50 EMA, and we found resistance exactly at that level. And like I said, you know, when a stock is below its 50 EMA, generally if we do have some type of upward momentum, we do tend to find some resistance at that 50 EMA, because like I said, the sellers are generally in control, right? And it's the opposite when, you know, the stock is above the 50 EMA. We tend to, you know, find pullbacks towards there and find support. And now we find that rejection here on Apple, and it's pulling back quite heavily. It's like it's failing below VWAP too, so not a good sign here for Apple. Netflix on the day, quite strong, and like I said, so the stock has been above its 50 EMA, pulled back to it, and looks like it's finding some support here. Look at that intense hammer candle, you know. So pretty much these are key areas to note, right? Important EMA like the 50, the 200s to kind of gauge the underlying strength, right? Because if you would have went short, yes, you would have made money, right? But now you're starting to see that there's like a bounce forming here at the 50 EMA. So I believe that we'll see some support here at the 50 EMA area, right here, this confluence zone, right here, and we'll probably see some, you know, little short-term rally towards it. Intraday VWAP, and if the if the stock is really strong, then I believe we'll possibly see a movement towards maybe challenge the highs, but it depends on how the market takes the news here. But it's like it's finding some hidden support here. I like this candlestick right here that's forming, and the price action following that formation. Looking at Amazon, see quite weak. It was, you know, pretty strong on the day, but then it encountered resistance at that 200 EMA, signifying that overall it was kind of bearish. Found that resistance, rejected, closed below it, and now we're rejecting below VWAP and the 50 EMA. We'll have to see if this is a fake breakdown. We want to see maybe some support at that EMA, but let's say we're not seeing it anymore, so we may have to challenge towards the 211. That would be the next area of support, as it would also match the pre-market low area. So right there, to match that double area, so this and here. So maybe that's where we can find some support later on in the day if it does not find support here and it initiates a downward trend. Right there, looking at IBIT, yeah, it was quite strong, but now pulling back, so quite heavily. Bitcoin hasn't been too strong today. It's now under 109. It was yesterday quite strong, but now it's around 107. Tesla, yeah, kind of consolidative in a range, but I say that it's pretty strong. And you guys may be asking, well, why? It's because we're still above the 50 MA, and we see the price action has been above it for ever since the open, right? And it's pretty much almost 2 hours since we opened, and it is signifying the hidden strength. We're also above the 200. We came back, actually found support at that area, you know, so right here, right there. So it's signifying that Tesla although it's kind of consolidative, is strong. You know, there's buyers on the underlying basically. So I'm liking this name here. Like I said, going back to Palantir, pretty rangy. It's a mess of a stock right now to trade. Honestly, the volume pretty low. Average volume on the 30 days have been around 94 million, and it's barely doing 22 million. So it's not looking too good here for overall for Palantir. You know, and it's kind of in a range, right? If you take into account the pre-market low, which is this one, and the pre-market high, we've just been in this tight range and, you know, been wicking, right? If you would have went short here, like, okay, you probably would have been stopped out, right? A lot of wicks, a lot of action, you know. So yeah, I would probably stay away from this name unless you're a perfect momentum trader, I mean range trader, and you can take advantage of those highs and then take advantage of those lows. That would be ideal, most likely. Let's see, next name here. Yeah, like I said, Nvidia quite strong on the day, absolutely a menace. And like I said, it probably finds some support around this area. And it's like we had a nice candle forming here, this nice hammer candle, where we see, you know, the price action. The sellers actually brought the price back down here towards the 144, and we had intense buyers picking up the price. So individuals coming in, and yeah, I'm showing underlying strength here in the asset. So I'm liking this name here overall. Compared to, for example, Palantir or Apple here on the intraday, seeing quite nice momentum here. Let's see. Yeah, so still looking quite strong. Let's go back to CoreWeave. There it is. So strong downside move. This name is now, you know, starting to pull back, starting to find those areas of resistance, and you know, pulling back overall on the daily. But we found some underlying support here. At around 142. This level low right here. Interesting, and the volume was nice. Volume almost equated this downside volume here, this red volume. Interesting. Now we're pulling towards the 50 EMA, and we are seeing that here. Also, we're below 200, so we may find some resistance at this zone. We'll have to see what happens. See how this looks on the daily chart. I'm pretty intrigued by this thing. Yeah, so it's been having, you know, trouble getting above this all-time high of 165 on the name. It's been, I mean, I don't pretty much I'm not surprised by this, as it just had an intense nice upward momentum move. It's been nothing but increasing ever since the IPO and that low that it formed. It's just an absolute monster. So I'm not expecting, you know, more momentum. We may have to, you know, maybe seeing some selling, some profit taking, which can bring obviously the stock back to some lower price, and some individuals can find some areas here, maybe the 110, the 104 here. They're on these areas here, so wouldn't be surprised if you pull back here on CoreWeave, and yeah, wouldn't be too surprised here on CoreWeave. Next name here, AMD. Yeah, this name is you know, it's been quite strong, but it's been having a little bit of trouble getting here above this daily level here. I'm telling you guys, it's been having a little bit of trouble, you know, having the decisive break and close above this 122.50, where now, you know, we closed above it for a little bit 2 days ago, but now, you know, we're back under it, right? So it's kind of like, are we really setting up for the bullish move here on the swing term? Like, to swing it, we may have to find a little bit more of buyers here at this low to finally find that extra strength, those extra buyers that can bring the price up higher here above. We may find some support here then towards 115 or even the 50 EMA. Let's see about that. The good old Bitcoin here on the daily, looks like it's pulling back, but I do like how it held this $101 level here. So we take this off. Let's see. Take the VWAP session. So yeah, I do like how we held above this, you know, $100K level, and it was also matching one of the Fibonacci levels. So kind of had triple confluence there at that level. It was, you know, pretty high. It reached above 110, but now pulling back. Maybe some profit taking. We'll have to see. Maybe find some more buyers around here. I don't know, to have that extra strength to bid up finally and break above the highs here of 112,000, right? So we'll have to see what performs here on Bitcoin. Obviously, since Bitcoin is down, then overall IBIT is going to be down as well, right? Reflecting that bearish sentiment that the overall crypto is seeing right now for today. GE finally seeing some type of pullback from those highs. It was quite extended, but this name is quite strong, and like I said, it's been just an amazing name here. Let's check how Datadog is doing. This name, I'm guessing it's going to be up. Yep, almost there. Oracle had such nice earnings there, and it's like Datadog is finally following that move there. Feel free to watch the video that we had on Datadog. I believe this name is setting up. We had our, you know, one of our best algos scan this, and it's you know, saying there's a lot of underlying strength that is prone for breakout. So it's quite a nice name here to kind of check out here. Datadog. It's like an Oklo. This name was really you know, moving yesterday. It was up to like more than 14%. Yeah, so there it is. So it's quite strong still on the day. I'm expecting, like I said, some type of pullback, you know, at the break of these all-time highs. You know, there has to be some profit taking eventually, right? So I'm expecting maybe a pullback, like I said in my video, right here, and then we can finally find those buyers, right? Finally find those buyers that pick up the price higher like that, right? So we've got to find, it's kind of like a trampoline, right? You know, we've gone too high, we need to fall back to trampoline to get that extra propulsion, right? So, but yeah, this name is looking pretty good to me. Honestly, it's not too bad. It's above its 50 EMA right here, above its 200. It's just very bullish, very bullish name here. The fundamentals are kind of, you know, they're backing it up now, right? So, and they're off. You know, yesterday Oracle had earnings, and you know, all of a sudden, a lot of, you know, names, you know, these lower cap names started to have you know, share offerings, right? It's like one after another. I think it was GameStop came up with the first, and then a little bit later after the close, Oklo came up with it, and then who else? Oracle as well. It's like a pattern, you know. It's just like boom, 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 you know. Which I get it, right? They probably got to raise a little bit more money, right? Especially, I think that's why, you know, GameStop was down, because, you know, like, you guys have Bitcoin on your balance sheet, but investors are you know, kind of questioning, you know, why do you need to you know, raise more money? You know, that mean that the overall business isn't doing as good, right? Still not showing overall growth, right? Yeah, and overall, like, you know, GameStop, it has to do something different, right? You know, it can't be that game provider. You know, I personally play, you know, games and all that, and everything's online, everything's digital. So I personally don't see how they can, you know, gain some type of market share from that. Some deals, if you can just, you know, go on the internet from, for example, Xbox, just go on the actual live store, and just get the games. And also, you know, Xbox presenting the Game Pass, like, you don't need to buy just one game, right? There's multiple games, multiple access. So it would have been nice if they would have done something like that, you know, but obviously Xbox beat them to it, obviously. And I guess right now they're barely trying to, you know, figure out, like, you know, what can we do, what can we do to kind of find that edge now in the market as technology has you know, increased and gotten better. So we'll have to see what GameStop does. So let's see how it's doing though on the day. Yeah, quite down at earnings though on Tuesday. at least they were profitable, actually made money. It just came in a little bit less revenue, so they brought in less money for the company, but they actually you know they kept something, right? Net income, so they beat on their overall EPS there. It's not too bad, but yeah, it's gapped down, right? So it's offering $1.75 billion worth of convertible senior notes due 2032, causing a 50% drop in market trading. Proceeds will fund corporate needs and potential acquisitions. So they're trying to, I respect that. They're trying to see what they can do, how they can shift the overall antiquated, I'd say, business model that GameStop had. So we'll have to see how that performs. A lot of plays yesterday too were quantum. So Qubit still strong on the day, finding that nice move. It says potential here to move higher. And I remember that, damn, in October, this thing was 70 cents. Interesting. That one popped up on one of our scanners. That was pretty. I didn't notice. I was like, nah, it's pretty low. Traded it's below $1. So I was like, damn. It's alright. It's alright. Alright, Quantum. Rigetti also in play. These names. So let's say we're finding some support now. Finding a little bounce there off of the 50 MA. Right there. So pretty strong there. Also, what's another name though? QBTS. D-Wave. Pretty flat. It's quite bullish though. It's above its swing high anchored VWAP. So this one. And you guys see that, it's been nothing but, increasing, and look how it's forming confluence at this area zone. So the 50 MA is confluating. It's matching pretty much the swing high anchored VWAP. So I wouldn't be surprised if we pull back towards this level and find immediate support. We find, because it's, it's like double the buying here possibly, right? So I like how these levels match for a reason, right? It's not accidental. Obviously, it's for a reason here, so it may find support. I wouldn't be too surprised over the next coming days. And also, it's looking kind of topish here, so we may need that extra leg up. That extra power here that may be found here at those little, I like to call it a little trampoline, right? We've been pretty high above the trampoline. It's kind of time to fall back down and find that extra move that can bring the stock up higher, right? So that's what I would like to see here on QBTS. Let's see. See, I wonder if there's like quantum ETF. That would be quite nice to see. Quantum stock ETF. Maybe BlackRock has one. Magnificent Seven. Defiance Quantum ETF. What does that have? Defiance Quantum ETF. Ticker symbol QT. What the? Q2TUM. I can't read today. Jesus Christ. Oh wow. It's been performing quite nice. How come no one talks about this? Jesus. It's not liquid though. I mean, for day trading, it's not good. It's doing less than 1 million in shares, right? So that's not too liquid intraday. So this would be just a good swing trade, I'd say. So it's swing trade name here with all the quantum plays that been happening. Simply, let's see. So yeah, it's been bullish above that swing high anchored VWAP. So the long was also at 76, and we've been doing nothing but increasing. We haven't even touched it. Haven't even found support. No pullback or anything. So it's kind of showing us here the overall strength that this name is having. Let's see. I wonder what their holdings are. What are they holding in this ETF here? So let's see. Let's see. Let's do some analysis here. So do some analysis on this name. Okay, so let's see. QTUM. Let's see the holdings here. Defines quantum ETF. Let's see. So company information. Let's see. Nothing in there. Year-to-date performance. A chart. Yeah. Overview. Chart. Doesn't give us any holdings or what? Like. see. Let's go on Yahoo Finance. We always find the news there. Oh shit, it's not real. What the hell? Can't find it. Okay, these are holdings here. Looks like we finally found it. I don't know how reliable this list is, but it's pretty reliable. So far it looks like, no, I don't want to. Looks like the top holding there, 7% top holding, is QBTS. Interesting. D-Wave, the one we recently talked about. The second holding is Palantir. That's interesting. What the hell? It's more like a tech then. And then they have TYO, 2% holding, 2% of their weight. I mean, Rigetti. So the top ones are interesting. I thought it would be more holding more, a little bit more of Rigetti, but IonQ. These are I've never seen these, probably Japanese companies. Nokia, Snowflake. That's interesting. Actually holding Snowflake here. How many shares are holding? Mitsubishi Electric Corporation. IBM. They're holding that. This one's a pretty good quantum name. I mean, it's, you know, it had a nice. I mean, it's tech, but it's still focused in quantum. Recently, after that development, that you know, the quantum computer that they're developing, Airbus, SE, Lam Research. Interesting. Everything that's chip manufactured, right? Because quantum is pretty. It's hardware, you know. Micron, Nippon, Taiwan Semi, Microsoft, Analog Devices, just okay, Nvidia, Cadence, Qualcomm Incorporated. Let's see what other one do they have. Lockheed Martin, LMT. Interesting. Interesting. Not bad. And a small percentage in Marvel. Marvel. Interesting to see that. But yeah, I mean, it's been performing quite well. Not going to lie. You know, it looks like it's approaching its all-time highs of $90. May find some, you know, some resistance there. May have to pull back, maybe. But yeah, it's looking quite strong, to be honest. Very nice name. Let's see, going back to our Tesla trade here on the day. Let's see if it pulls up. Right there. So yeah, it's been pretty consolidated. Like, it found resistance again at that pivot point. We're just you know, having a hard time getting above this $328 level. You know, having a hard time. But I like how we're still above the 50 MA and all that. You know, although maybe it's taking a while to, you know, to form here. Let's see, Nvidia pulled back. Let's see how VWAP is at right there. Finding support right there. Yeah, the overall market pulled back to VWAP. Found buyers though, but we have to see if it, you know, breaks above. So this probably break above a 533 on the triple Q would signify that continuation here of the bullish trend. Interesting. Very, very interesting. See how Tesla's looking on more of a longer time frame. Let's see the 15. Let's see. Yeah, so it's quite consolidated though, but I like the support there at the 50 MA. You know, kind of within a range, but it's not looking too bad here. Let's look at the 30-minute. Yeah, look at those wicks. Look at those wicks there. Yeah, I was having a hard time getting above these levels here. Yeah, the market's just been pretty choppy. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you can pretty much say that it's between this range here. So take this here, right? So between these range right here on Tesla. So it's not you could say like in a defined trend. It's just consolidated here. Let's see how Nvidia's doing. That one's looking like it's bouncing. Okay, I see. Let's see, iBid also down. Yeah, pulling back. EMD, which one's CoreWeave? Yeah, Microsoft is strong, doesn't really care about the market, whatever it's doing. Yeah, found resistance here. Apple at the 50 EMA. Still Netflix. Trying to form a bottom in my opinion here. Although they did have a price hike here. I mean, yeah, overall a price target increase. Here it went from 1,150 to 1,300 from Moffett Nathanson. I never heard about that. Never heard about them, honestly. Say the average analyst rating is overweight with a mean target of 1,190. Not bad. Yeah, I think obviously Netflix can't be too heavily impacted by tariffs, so that's why I believe that's why it's been seeing this nice run. It's one of the Max 7 here that is not, in a way, I don't believe it's going to be impacted by tariffs, so that's why we're seeing that bounce. Tesla's still in that range. Let's look at the overall triple Q. Yeah, still above the 50, which is not too bad. SPY still holding VWAP, just like we're testing it. Although we're not seeing that bounce though. Let's see. We'll have to see. Looks like Tesla's seeing a bounce. Look at this, guys. Not bad. I don't want to jinx myself, but this around this area here, VWAP. see, I want to see updates. See if there's any news that may come in here that may impact us. Looks like the buyers are finally coming in here at the 50. Looks like Trump said something here. Made the stock go up. Saw a nice bid here. Looks like Trump said, quote unquote, "I like Tesla, but I like combustion engines." Yeah. I don't believe he said that. Probably see what happens here. Yeah, look at that bid at the VWAP, huh? Interesting. Yeah, probably algo buying at that low right there. Some algo just came in and yeah, look at the volume on this candle. Look at that. You guys see that? So previously we were seeing average volume kind of starting to decline a little bit here on this downward move, but it's like the volume is coming in pretty hot here. Right there, that came in at that candle there. Let's see what happens. We'll have to see. And I believe there's underlying strength in the name. I mean, we're above the 50 MA, above the 200, so there's definitely buyers here in this name, right? The sellers are not. I don't believe they're within the name, right? There's more. Pretty much what I'm saying. There's more buyers than sellers. Based off the technicals, obviously. Let's see. Let's take the overall market. See if you also saw that little bid that came up there. Just Tesla. Interesting. Interesting to see that. Let's see Tesla. Video pulling back. Yeah. No, it's been quite strong on the day. Not going to lie. Above its 50, above its 200 EMA, above those key indicators, and above VWAP. So I'm liking that name. May have some support there. So if it does, find some support around this area, and I see like a bounce after, this dip. I wouldn't just like to just buy the dip. I'd like to buy strength after the dip. So what I mean by that here is, let's see, they probably pull back there, find maybe some buyers, and trick people here. Probably form like a lower doji there or something. Let's see if I can do that like that. No, like trigger people, find buyers there. And see some type of case, where we see the candles slowly recuperate like that, then that would be like an entry long, because it would find support at the VWAP, wick these people out, possibly find support also, so simultaneously at the 50 EMA, enter there. Stop loss would be clearly defined at this level here, and just try to ride it, try to challenge the highs here of 145. So that's what we would like to see on Nvidia, but let's see how the price action reacts and what the market decides to do. Just got to give it time. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, sometimes when you just, there's these days when, the stock just kind of decides to kind of do nothing during the range of this. When this happens, it's kind of, boring, but in a way it's helpful because it allows us to see and appreciate like the oh, look at that. Oh, wow. Look at that intense candle that came up right now. Holy crap, look at that break. Let's see if it does close above. It's not just a wick. But that was quite nice. We want to see some type of, um, if it's consolidating, and we'd like to see some type of movement that, finally breaks above. Look at that. Looks like it's finally breaking above the range. Look at that, bro. We caught that live. Oh my god. Look at that. Jesus Christ. Look at this strong bid, guys. Are you guys seeing this? Oh my lord. Look at that break of 328. Jesus. Oh my god. Is there any news? Bro, we gotta clip this. We got to clip this. Oh my lord. Let's check X. Maybe Trump said something, or Elon Musk said something. Is it the overall market rebounding? Oh my lord, look at that. Oh my, dude, are you guys seeing this intense bid, this intense volume? Look at this volume, 250,000. Oh my Jesus Christ. I told you guys there's underlying strength in the name. Okay, we're gonna have to take some off of the position. We're gonna take half. We have to take some off of the position. Jesus Christ. You guys definitely saw that. Oh my god, we got it live. We got it live. My god, that was beautiful. That surge in volume. Absolutely amazing. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. It's like it's kind of pulling back now, but wow. This volume, look at 330,000 in volume here that came up on this wick. Wow, look at this. It's like people probably profit taking here. Oh my Lord Christ. Look at that. Let's see on X if some news, Trump stated something, Elon Musk stated something. Let's check here. On X. Let's see. Oh, feel free for you guys to follow. Just a profile here. True Trader at uplift_markets on X for the data. We also give this guys right here. Let's see if there's any type of post here. Let's see. Musk 48 minutes ago. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's see, Trump maybe. June 2nd. Yeah, hasn't really posted anything. June 2nd. Yeah. Nothing really. Yeah, looking out, it's down. Finding some selling here. Probably profit takers. That's obvious, right? That seeing that strong bid, I will obviously take some profit. We'll probably get out at the break here so we'll keep holding the position, but we got half of it out. I'm guessing the market participants also took some profit out. But yeah, like I said, there's underlying strength as long as we remain above the 50 MA. Wow, that was absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Jesus Christ. maybe now deciding to pull back here. About time, but wow, that was nice move. Let's see if there's a continuation here. Towards now, our final price target. I think Tesla, if it's just bullish, probably achieve the 333. If not, if it fails, I'd say this 326 level, because it would be kind of like the higher low, the most recent higher low that was formed here. Then it would be an out of the position, but at least we took half of the position out. So just playing now with, you could say, house money right here. Yeah, that volume was intense. It was more than 100,000 in a single 5-minute candle. Absolutely monstrous. Monstrosity. Let's check on Nvidia, see if it found that bid. Okay, looks like it's pulling back. Still having its little troubles there. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It pays off to be patient. It does pay off. And I don't see any other else, like anything else bouncing like Tesla. Like you would say that would be like a general market move, basically like a overall market news headline. But let's say the triple Q is still, yeah, it's just Tesla then. SPY saying that. Let's see, Google. Yeah, no strong bid that you could say, wow, market headline. It's like it's specific to Tesla. Amazon, iBid, nothing. Oh, iBid pumped up. Oh, wait, go back. Oh, that's just Tesla. Yeah, seeing policy, just leave it alone. It's pretty rangy. Wouldn't touch it at all. Yeah, look at that. So we're having some resistance at 330 or 333. Yeah, that was not a nice break of that range. Nice breakout. Quite well. Obviously, we're seeing that intense upper wick as I believe that if you see that nice move, why you're gonna take it. You gotta take advantage of that. Sell some if you were within the position, building up your position. Down here, if you're building up your position, you got the touches of VWAP, and you see this nice strong bid. Obviously, you're gonna sell some. Take some profit, but man, absolutely amazing name. At least the volume is now starting to pick up here. Oh, such a nice move. It's TSLA. Obviously, it's gonna mirror that. Obviously, Tesla move, but yeah, cheaper trade. Obviously, cheaper to trade than Tesla. This is a pretty good one. You guys know that. It's a derivative. If you guys do options, you're gonna be trading a derivative of a derivative, right? So, let's see. Yeah, honestly, if I were to let's say add into my position. I wouldn't add in at highs. At these highs, I wouldn't add into it at all. So let's see. That was a nice strong bid. VWAP sloping up. That is the highest volume candle of the day so far at exactly 9 a.m. or 12 Eastern time, right? Highest volume candle presented there. Wow. We'll have to see that. Wow. That bid in Tesla was intense. Absolutely amazing bid. Wow. Yeah, good thing we got out half of the position right there on Tesla. We're just seeing if it does manage to hold above, let the rest run. It's kind of house money, basically. We already managed our risk, adjusted our stop loss, kind of adjusted here from it was at this low at around 323. We adjusted it now to this most recent higher low that was formed, so we saw this strong bid, took half of the profit off. That's what we probably see why most market participants probably did the same, and we adjusted our stop loss here at around 325. So we'll have to see if it holds. I think it's pretty good. We have a lot of support areas that can kind of make the stock go higher. The VWAP here and the 50 EMA, the 200. So we have a nice area, you could say, of protection in case all of a sudden it just decides to tank on us. Because this stock right now, especially recently, is so news headline driven, right? The stock is so you can't. It's pretty wild to trade. Wild. You can factor in some of the fundamentals. You can factor in as well, technicals, support and resistance. But if a headline drops, any type of news bomb, and all of a sudden you just get liquidated, or you see a nice upward move, just like we saw now here on Tesla. That was one of the highest volume candles. Like I said, did easily more. The tape was crazy. It was doing more than 100,000. I think it was doing 300,000 in volume on just one single 5-minute candle. That was intense. Yeah, we're gonna see if it does hold above here in the next target that we have is the 333. We're not too far, like 4 points above that. Tesla can achieve that. It was quite boring. If you guys saw the stream earlier, it was kind of rangy, but like I said, there was underlying strength as the price action still remained and kept holding above the 50 EMA and 200 EMA, right? So we generally like to give the benefit of the doubt towards those buyers. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was just Tesla that saw that nice bid. The market, not really. It wasn't like overall market news that made the majority of the equities go up. It was just only for Tesla, I guess, based off that news here. So let's see. This candle's doing 107,000 so far in volume. That's why we are maybe decreasing here. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Trump praises Tesla after Musk backtracks in feud. That's the news then. Let's see. Why did it disappear? The hell? Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? With the ROBOTAXI coming in June, you want to be on the good side of the government, right? You don't want to have any type of regulation hurdles or any type of lawsuits that may impact, the release of the ROBOTAXI, right? And it's obvious that you would want Trump on his good side. After that feud, he kind of stepped back and step back down and be like, yeah, I was just kidding. Don't take it too serious. Just forget what I said, pretty much. Let's read this news here that came in on, see on Tesla. Let's see the Dom project and Tesla takedown. Oh no, no, never mind. That's not the news. Nope. I'll just have to see. Maybe on Truth. Maybe Trump posted on something on Truth. Truth Social. Let's check that out. So we have to. I don't think we have to sign up to see the content. Maybe if you want to see recently, you have to sign up. So maybe that's what. We'll see. But yeah, I really like that bid. Absolutely amazing. I may possibly come back and retest those levels there. Wouldn't be too surprised, quite frankly. Yeah, remember guys to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification to get updated on whenever we post. As you guys know, we have videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So tomorrow, be attentive at 1 p.m. That's when we post, and we're gonna be also going live on Sunday in the afternoon to kind of get a kind of like the trade prep before the market opens for the week. See what's expected for the week, a little rundown. So you guys stay informed, and we also look at probably some tickers that are in play and are looking that looking to be outperformers on the week. So that's been pretty nice. Also, we're also releasing another episode of the podcast, so it's going to be a topic that you guys are very interested in. So take advantage of that, and yeah, it's going to be amazing week. See that. And it would be more amazing if Tesla can find some support here and hold this level. So it's like we're praying, like hopefully, right? Let's see, so yeah, still that was a nice volume coming in. So the average volume on Tesla, as we know, over the past 30 days has been around 113 million shares. And the volume right now, so far, it's done around 52 million shares. So kind of around a little bit less than half right there. So we'll have to see. So some contraction here. Yeah, and like I said, this area was pretty much resistance, right? It was resistance for the whole day, right? Resistance there again and again. Once the level breaks above resistance and closes above, so we close above that right there, 329. It may pull back, find support now, acting that level acting as support, and we'll probably see a bounce. So most of the time that's what happens, but it's not 100%. We'll have to see here, monitor basically the trade and see how the stock performs here. Yeah, that was very bullish. I like that. That was nice. The market's still up a little bit. There it is. Found support at VWAP. What did I say? Absolutely amazing. There, that's nice. Found support. Looking like it's moving now higher. I've seen the market now up 0.26%. You know, so not too bad. We're not that far from the all-time highs. You know, it's like the market's like we're so close to achieving those all-time highs. We're not too far off too. If you take a moment and measure right now the price action to where we are, let's see, yeah, a little, less than 2%, right? So we're just so close, around 1.26%. That's what we're kind of seeing, this choppiness. The market's like we're almost there, but not quite. Go back to Tesla. Let's see. Tesla lawsuit says former engineer stole secrets for robotics startup. Ah, shoot. No, I don't think that's recent news. See, are we gonna hold or there's also the IPO too, huh? Chime, recent IPO pumping. We'll see how it performs. Yeah, looks like it's pulling back. Interesting. Yeah, that bid came up so intensely. Unless these short participants are starting to short. We'll have to see. Just paying close attention to the price action here. See, probably zoom that in. So we had that, like I said, a strong bid. Selling came in. Volume looks to be pulled back to the pivot point, but we didn't find some support. Last area of hope is this level, man. This, you could say, higher low, right? Pretty much right here. This level still, this fails to hold, and honestly, we'll be out. We see like some type of, let's see, one more minute till this candle closes. If we see, something like this, then yeah, we would be out, toward the downside, So, but if we see something like this, then that wouldn't be too bad. ideally, um, this stock is bullish, as long as we remain above the $322 level, this area of support, pretty much. As long as we remain above this area, the stock is pretty much bullish to me. But obviously, if it's pulling back, then we may have to, exit a little bit of a position. Looks like it's starting to pull back here. But yeah, if it pulls back, then we would have to get out. Quite simply, due to the fact, and wait to see, we can't take it all the way down here. So we find some support. If it does, fail, then we would expect to see, how the stock reacts at around these areas here, or even, if you find support here, and maybe try to trigger that towards the upside. So it's about waiting, and if we don't find support, then we may break this, and this may be now the initiation of the downward move, right? So we have to just be patient, acknowledge what the stock is telling us. The price action ultimately is always king, because that's what tells us how the stock is performing. I don't care about the news. Show me a chart, and if it's performing good, then we look to enter the name. It's like it's kind of bouncing a little bit. Let's see, let's check on the other assets, other names. Nvidia, yeah, it's trying to bounce, but some selling here, selling on those upper wicks. Let's check Palantir. Yeah, pretty choppy. Maybe find some support there, but nah. See, this to me is like the Alamo, right? If this level fails to hold this $326 level, then we would be out, right? Like I said, we defined the risk, defined the management here. Let's see, 2 more minutes till this 5-minute candle closes, and we get a better general idea. So far, there's no news coming out except for that, bid that we saw. Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, if you guys want me to look at any tickers, let me know down in the comment section, or even here on the live chat. Just let me know a little bit more about what tickers you guys are looking at. And I'll possibly look to, possibly join the name as well. So we'll see. Okay, looks like Tesla's holding. I'm looking here on my other screen. I'm looking at the time and sales. Seeing the volume, between the bid and the ask. So it's not. Looks like it's not holding on. Nope. All right. So we are out of Tesla. Looks like that level did not hold at all. Yeah, candle closed now, so it's 12:30. Still declining though. All right, yep, there it is. Yep, there's that selling coming into that level. Did not hold. We are out of our position entirely here on Tesla. We're like, nope. Honestly, we should have just taken everything out towards the highs, but obviously we can't go back in time. Just developing there. But yeah, that was quite nice of a move, quite nice little rally. But now it looks like we failed to decisively hold. Honestly, this pivot point break below signified that we broke the level, but we didn't bounce off of it. So showing that there's still some sellers there in the name. So yeah, we are fully out of our position. Good thing we took advantage of that, and we had a defined risk. Anyways, we would have been stopped out here at this low there of 325. So I'm not too surprised that we're selling off here. Probably look to switch now to Nvidia. I think it's probably stronger on the day compared to Tesla, which is kind of flat. So let's see how this performs. Yeah, other than that, I think we'll leave it at that for today. So far, I'd say Tesla was such a pretty nice trade, very nice move, that we enjoyed for quite a while. It was good while it lasted, but sellers came in and we dominated that upper portion. So we'll leave it at that. And yeah, so feel free to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, comment down below if you were trading Tesla or what type of equity you guys were trading, your ideal entry prices, or where you guys were looking at exiting, for example here on Tesla. And feel free to subscribe to the Uplift Markets newsletter as well, and stay on track here for the video that's going to come out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And other than that, I'll see you guys on tomorrow's live stream. Take care.